What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content that I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking the latest edition of Table for Three as seen on the network that aired after Raw this past week, entitled Nitro Legends, featuring Diamond Dallas Page, Big Show, and Kevin Nash. A WCW-themed edition here, which I think we've had before. I think they had Vader on, DDP, and Sting, if I'm not mistaken, about a year or two ago. This was an equally entertaining edition, talking a lot about WCW Nitro and their own friendships and experiences and memories and stuff like that. I am not a WCW guy. I have not seen too much of WCW, so this episode wasn't really for me going in, but I enjoy DDP, I enjoy Big Show, I enjoy Kevin Nash, so therefore I enjoyed this episode. To kick it off, DDP recalled bumping for Big Show and Kevin Nash time after time after time again in WCW, as well as Big Show riding a motorcycle for like Hell's Angels or something like that for WCW. Big Show and Kevin Nash mentioned that they're in shape now, they go to the gym a lot. Big Show discusses breaking into the business, which is a lot of stuff we've heard before in his documentary and stuff like that, where I think his dad, grandfather, and coach, because he played basketball in high school, I believe, and maybe college too. They all died in the same year. And that was really kind of a wake-up call for him that he really needed to get into something that he would enjoy and make a living off of, that being pro wrestling. So I guess he had done a Hulk Hogan impression in front of Hulk Hogan at the power plant for his WCW tryout. Of course, impressing the right people. Hogan heard it, said that he had the size, he can talk, he's got everything, sign him. So Show talked about working at the power plant and how Triple H was also there at that time, and that Triple H said even then he had a vision for what something like that should be. I mean, obviously the power plant closed when WCW closed, if not right before that. Triple H had a vision for what a sports entertainment pro wrestling facility should be, and that was kind of his vision for the Performance Center that he would later create almost 20 years later. DDP remembered taking the chokeslam from Big Show early on when he first showed up in the company, which was not a pretty bump at all, based off the footage that we saw here on the episode. They talked about the NWO debuting at the Bash at the Beach 1996 pay-per-view and Kevin Nash's involvement and how it really changed the business. DDP had a lot to do with that NWO angle because it was only, he said 10 weeks. It was like 6 months later, in like January of 1997, when he turned on Scott Hall and Kevin Nash in the middle of the ring, got an amazing reaction from it, and he was told at that point, I think by Scott Hall, this is your time, make the most of it. And he hit the diamond cutter on Hall, got Nash out of the ring. He sent him spiraling over the top rope to ringside, and then he was celebrating with the crowd. One of the loudest pops in WCW history was in that moment on Nitro, and that really helped make DDP into a bona fide superstar for the company. And Kevin Nash said if Kevin Sullivan wasn't there, that wouldn't have worked. And I don't know if he was talking about that one angle or the NWO in general. I'm not really sure, but they do credit Kevin Sullivan a lot for the ideas and the success of the NWO in WWE. Kevin Nash talked about how he and Hall wanted to bring bats to the ring so they can use them as like weapons and smack them against the steel steps to kind of make more of an impact. They talk about how at one point a fan riot broke out in the crowd because I guess there was some sort of angle when these WCW guys were brawling with these NWO guys at ringside, and that led to the fans brawling with each other. WCW fans brawling with NWO fans in the crowd. That's how riled up and how invested people were in that storyline. Could you imagine like nowadays, like fucking, I don't even know, like the Shield, like Shield fans in the crowd starting a fight with like Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre fans in the crowd? You would never see that shit today. Like, that is pretty crazy and taking it a step too far and believing that it's real. But still, like, that really shows a lot of investment on the fans' part, and you don't see that shit at all today. I'm not saying they should be fighting in the crowd by any means. That's kind of bad. But it really kind of goes to show how much people really believed in that storyline 20 years ago, despite the fact that it fizzled out before long. Anyway, Big Show talks about how he and the NWO destroyed a car for an angle on TV that was rented by some guy named Dillinger, not Ty Dillinger, some guy that worked at the company. I don't know if he was an official, a security guard. They might have said it. I didn't catch it. And how it was not a work, it was a shoot. And I think Big Show knew that it was that guy's car, but he was told by the NWO to destroy it, and they did, and it was a rental, so he was kind of fucked. He didn't get insurance on it. Kind of a funny story. But Big Show credits that one moment as the moment that he got over. That was what helped get him over with the audience once he joined the NWO. He said that the nicest guys are always the ones you do not want to see snap. And he mentions Chuck Zito, who I have no idea who that guy is. They showed a brief picture or clip of him on commentary for WCW, so I don't know if he was an announcer or a wrestler that did announcing. I'm not sure. But he mentions him, Haku, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan as three guys that were apparently really, really nice, but if they snapped, they would fucking go off and kill you. They talk about meeting fans and shaking hands and how after a while it can like give you calluses on your hands and stuff like that, which is really something I never really thought about, which I guess is true. Like when you go to autograph signings, I can only imagine how many hands these wrestlers have to shake and how after a while, after like shaking hands and signing autographs, their hand really has to start hurting after a while. Anyway, Kevin Nash talked about how he's had 17 knee operations, which is fucking ridiculous. But apparently it's true. Definitely does not surprise me at all. Does not surprise me one bit that Kevin Nash has had 17 knee operations. That is unreal. And then to close it out, Big Show says there are ships that fly, there are ships that sail, but the best ships of all are friendships. Which I've actually never heard that quote before. Does it sound a little silly? Kind of sound a little stupid, sure. But I like that a lot. I don't know where he got that. I'm sure it's some sort of famous quote. But I love it a lot. So we closed out with that, and he even says, yeah, that was a little lame. And Kevin Nash is like, hey, if you think it's lame, then you think it's lame, whatever. So I enjoyed this, obviously. These three guys are really, really good friends. They had a hell of a time working with each other back in the WCW Nitro days, and are still friends to this day, kind of taking a trip down memory lane. So if you're a WCW fan, then this episode is probably for you. Check it out on the WWE Network under the Originals category on the network. Table for Three Nitro Legends featuring Diamond Dallas Page, Big Show, and Kevin Nash. Thank you guys for checking out the show. As always, I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll be back on Wednesday with a new hashtag, Thursday Wrestle Rant Radio Excerpts, Friday Wrestle Rant, Saturday Network and Chill. Mondays, I usually do the Monday motivation videos. This week, I did not have one. Did not have time to record one, but it should be back starting next Monday. So with all that being said, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.